This video is for the girls who are on sophomore retreat to go over the equations of an ellipse that we did in class the other day. The standard equation for an ellipse is x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared is 1. In this equation, the a and the b give information about the ellipse itself. If we look at the graph I have over here, maybe, a, the value underneath the x squared, the square root of that value, is the distance from the center of ellipse to the side in the x direction. So that would be a. Distance would be a. If I was looking at a point, I would say that this would be negative a from the center. And the y direction is b. So all you have to do is look at the equation, and whatever is underneath the x squared is how far the ellipse goes in the x direction. Whatever is underneath the y is how far the ellipse goes in the y direction. The book actually gives you two formulas, but if you always remember that whatever's underneath the x goes with the x, whatever's underneath the y goes with the y, you really only need one formula. So the ellipse I have pictured here, the a is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I would have x squared over 5. Whoops, where'd it go? Let's try that again. I would have x squared over 5 squared plus y squared over 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 squared equals 1. And I have no idea where the little parabola just came from. It decorated it by itself, but let's move on. If I were to look at this ellipse, how far does it go in the x direction? You can see my cursor here. It goes 1, 2, 3. So in the x direction, it goes 3 squared. In the y direction, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I would want to simplify this to x squared over 9 plus y squared over 25 equals 1. Now let's go ahead and do the second one. In the x direction, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So x squared over 4 squared. In the y direction, I have 5 again. Y squared over 5 squared equals 1. Simplified. What happens if the ellipse does not have the center at the origin? Well, just like a circle and similarly to a parabola, we're going to use h and k to show how it shifts. So the ellipse, my circle just leapt over there. If I had x minus 2, the quantity squared, over 36, plus y plus 3 squared over 25, equaling 1. This would be the equation of the ellipse. We'll draw it down here. How far do I go where's my center first? My center is at 2, negative 3. So if I have point 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, about right here, and that's my center. How far do we go in the x direction? Plus or minus 36, which is 6 in each direction. So let's sketch that in. From this point here, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the y direction, I'm going to go the square root of 25. One, two, three, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3. Show them over here. And about right there. So once I have those points in, I can sketch my ellipse like that. Now the axes, the line of symmetry going the long way, I just drew it in red, is called the major axis. And the line of symmetry on the short way is called the minor axes. So I could have an ellipse that is tall and skinny, where my major axis is going to go up and down, and my minor axis is going to go on the x-way, or I can have one like here. The major axes I've got drawn in red, the minor axes in blue. Now the major axes, the points here, I'll make them really big, are called the vertices. Those are the points where the ellipse contacts the major axes. The point where the ellipse contacts the minor axis is called the co-vertices. Let's look at a problem. Write an equation for the ellipse with vertices at -6, -2, and 4, -2, and co-vertices at -1, -4, and -1, 0. So staying the same and using red to show my major axes, I have a point here at -6, -2. I have another point here at 4, -2. And I have a minor axis here at -1, -4, and -1, 0. Now, where is the center of this ellipse? Where is this center point right here? I could find it using the midpoint formula for either axis because it's going to be halfway in between. So if we did that with the minor axes, this is -1, 0. My x-coordinate, -1 plus -1, is -2 over 2. My y-coordinate, 0 plus -4, is -4 over 2. Or simplified, my center is at -1, -2. Now look at these points here. My coordinate is the same as the minor axes, -1. That makes sense because it lies on that line, x equals -1. My y-coordinate lies on this line, y equals -2, and the y-coordinate is -2. So you can also just look at your graph and be able to figure out where your center of the circle is. So now let's figure out what our A and B is. How far do we go in the x direction? From -1 to -6. We go 5. So we have x squared over 5 squared. How far do we go in the y direction? From -2 to 0. We go 2. Remember, distances are always positive. So you're always looking at the positive distance from here. And there's my equation for this ellipse. This should give you a good idea how to move forward with the equation of the ellipses. We will do the foci and the definition of an ellipse in class together on Wednesday. So hope this helps. Thanks a lot. See you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.